Mountain is a ski resort located in the Blue Mountains, Ontario, Canada. The resort spans the Niagara Escarpment near the southern shore of Georgian Bay and encompasses 147 hectares, 360 acres of skiable terrain with a vertical drop of 220 meters, 720 feet. As of 2024, the resort maintains 43 named runs, which includes its 4 terrain parks. The resort was established in 1941 by Joseph Wider and Gordon Peter Campbell, who acquired land on the escarpment from the Toronto Ski Club and the Blue Mountain Ski Club. In 1948, the resort signed a 999-year lease with the 2 ski clubs, securing use of their land on the mountain. The resort expanded its winter operations throughout the latter half of the 20th century. By the 1970s, the resort began introducing summer attractions, aiming to become a year-round destination. In 2000, construction began on its resort village, made possible after Intrawest acquired a 50% stake in the company the year prior. In 2017, the resort was acquired by a consortium and consolidated under the Alterra Mountain Company. The resort hosts several seasonal attractions throughout the year on its slopes and at its resort village at the base of the escarpment. The resort is the 3rd busiest ski resort in Canada after Whistler Blackcomb and Mont Tremblant Resort. Etymology. The Blue Mountains refers to a portion of the Niagara Escarpment that stretches from Osler Bluff, which overlooks Pretty River Valley Provincial Park, to Georgian Peaks, where the escarpment is interrupted by the Beaver Valley. The earliest recorded instance of Blue Mountains moniker, in reference to the area's hills and valleys, was in 1819. In John Jeremiah Bigsby's book, Shoe and Canoe by Bigsby. However, the Blue Mountains moniker, often attributed to Charles Rankin, who referred to the area as the Blue Mountains when surveying the area in 1833. The reason why Blue Mountain moniker was used remains unclear. The resort used the Blue Mountain moniker in May 1941 when it was established as Blue Mountain Resorts Limited, although it only occupies parts of the wider Blue Mountains geological range. History. Background. The area's development as a ski destination began in 1924 with the formation of the Toronto Ski Club. Progress accelerated in 1935 when the Blue Mountain Ski Club, later renamed the Collingwood Ski Club, opened in the area and the first ski trails were developed on the escarpment. Granny, Shoes, and Kandahar were cut into the Niagara Escarpment. In 1940, the 2 ski clubs partnered to purchase 81 hectares, 200 acres of land on the escarpment and hired Herman Smith Johansson to assist in the development of the area's ski trails. Establishment. In May 1941, Joseph Wider, a Slovakian political refugee and chalet builder, partnered with Gordon Peter Campbell, a Toronto-based ski instructor, lawyer and Canadian senator, to purchase 3.6 hectares, 9 acres of land from the Toronto Ski Club and Blue Mountain Ski Club and formed Blue Mountain Resorts Limited. Campbell served as the resort's financier and business advisor, while Joseph Wider held a 25% stake in the resort and was employed as its sports and ski director. The first ski season began later in 1941, with most visitors arriving by a ski train that departed from Toronto. A barn on the property served as the first ski lodge or ski barn. The ski train service was briefly discontinued in 1943 due to logistical needs of the Second World War. In 1948, the resort signed a 999-year lease for the parts of the Niagara Escarpment the ski clubs controlled, in exchange for granting the clubs increased shares in the resort. The next year, an additional 61 hectares, 150 acres of land south of the main ski area was acquired by the resort, and its ski barn was renovated to provide ski entertainment and overnight accommodations. Growth in the latter 20th century. A resort town began to form around Blue Mountain. Resorts during the 1950s as frequent visitors built ski shacks near the north end of the resort. In 1953, the Wider opened Blue Mountain Pottery in order to support the resort's finances during the skiing off-season. The resort was also expanded during the 1950s, with a ski jump installed and new trails cut. The resort property was also expanded in 1956, when land at its southern end was purchased. The longest run on the mountain is 1.6 kilometers, 0.99 miles, named Gord's Groove. Geography. Blue Mountain Resort spans the Niagara Escarpment near the southern shoreline of the Nottawasaga Bay, a southern subbay of the Georgian Bay. As opposed to other the Niagara Escarpment was not formed from a geological fault, but from the differential erosion of rock strata. Specifically, the area's underlying soft rocks eroded away quickly, which caused the more resistant caprock to break off and created the cliff-like slope. The remaining rock layers formations that form the escarpment includes the Blue Mountain and Queenston formations. The Blue Mountain portions of the Niagara viewed nearby the base of the escarpment along Ontario Highway 26. The resort spans a portion of the escarpment. The portion of the escarpment north of Lake Ontario, including its Blue Mountain portions, are formed along the ridge of the Michigan Basin. The Blue Mountain portion of the escarpment intersects the Algonquin Arch, a rise in the bedrock between two saucer-like bedrock depressions that make up the Allegheny and Michigan basins. As a result, the escarpment reaches its highest elevation around the wider Blue Mountain portion of the escarpment, which the resort resides on. The entire region, including the Blue Mountains, underwent isostatic depression when glaciers covered the region during the last glacial period. As a result, the area rises at a rate of 15 centimeters, 5.9 in, every 100 years, due to post-glacial rebound. For several thousand years after the last glacial period, the Blue Mountain portions of the escarpment served as the shoreline for the historic Lake Algonquin that was formed from the glacial meltwater. Wider acquired majority ownership of the resort in 1964. With the passing of Campbell in 1964, Blue Mountain resorts underwent significant expansion during the 1960s, driven by improved access from regular snowplowing on Ontario Highway 400 and Highway 26, which made it easier for visitors from the Greater Toronto area to reach the resort. This includes the installation of 4 chairlifts in 1960s, the completion of Blue Mountain in 1963, and the Central Base Lodge in 1969. To finance this development, Wider sold off Blue Mountain Pottery in 1967, although retained the 4.0 hectares 10 acres of land located across the pottery factory, opting to build a large restaurant, shopping center, and planetarium near the resort. The resort continued to expand following Wider's death in 1971. During the 1970s, 3 additional chairlifts were installed, along with the resort's first snowmaking guns and lighting for night skiing. In 1977, Blue Mountain introduced its first summer attraction, the Great Slide Ride, featuring 2 parallel concrete tracks. Additionally, the resort partnered with a private entity to acquire 150 hectares, 380 acres, of land for the development of a golf course, which opened in the 1980s as Montera Golf. Additional summer attractions were added at the resort in the 1980s with the installation of tennis courts, waterslide, and the acquisition of Blue Mountain Beach at Georgian Bay. The resort's winter offerings were also expanded during the 1990s, with the opening of its first snowtubing park, the allowance of snowboarding and glade skiing on the resort in the 1990s. In 1999, Intrawest acquired 50% ownership of Blue Mountain Resorts from the Wider family. 21st century. The Blue Mountain Village illuminated at night, with the Blue Mountain ski trails visible in the background, January 2024. In the 2000s, the Blue Mountain began to expand its resort village with the construction of a conference center, along with several hotels, retail shops and restaurants, and resort homes at Blue Mountain Village. Intrawest's investment in the ski village resulted in 700,000 skier visits by 2006, making Blue Mountain Resort become the 3rd busiest ski resort in Canada after Whistler Blackcomb and Mont Tremblant Resort. The resort also expanded its summer offerings in the 2000s, with the addition of an open-air gondola in 2005, an aquatic center in 2006, an alpine coaster in 2010, along Wyeth, a putting green and zip lining. In February 2013, the resort announced the orchard section of the mountain would be developed to include 6 additional runs and a 6-person high-speed chairlift. Construction began in the spring of 2013 and was completed early in the 2013 to 2014 ski season. The total cost of the expansion was $10 million, opening to the public in December 2013. In 2017, KSL Partners and Henry Crown and Company acquired Intrawest and Blue Mountain Resorts in 2017, with the new parent company renamed Alterra Mountain Company in 2018. In 2018, Altera introduced the Icon Pass, a season pass granting access to various ski resorts across Canada and the United States, including Blue Mountain. The Blue Mountains is a town in Grey County, southwestern Ontario, Canada, located where the Beaver River flows into Nottawasaga Bay. It is named for the Blue Mountain, and hence the economy of the town is centered on tourism, particularly on the Blue Mountain Ski Resort and the private Georgian Peaks, Osler, Craigleith, and Alpine ski clubs. The town was formed on January 1, 2001, when the town of Thornbury was amalgamated with the township of Collingwood. Thornbury is home to the architecturally unique L.E. Shaw Memorial Library, named after the founding partner of the architectural practice of Shaw Tilb, Irwin Plus Partners, and designed by the firm. During the Southern Ontario tornado outbreak of 2009, a tornado passed through the Blue Mountains area on August 20th. The tornado passed by Thornbury and hit Craigleith before moving out onto Georgian Bay. Ravenna is the setting for the novel Ravenna Gets by author Tony Burgess. Citation needed. Recreation. The Blue Mountains has a host of recreational activities for all the seasons. Most notably is the winter skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing. In the summer, there is hiking, downhill cross-country biking, an extravagant mini-putt, the Ridge Runner, and events such as Metcon Blue. If physical activities are not what you are looking for, the village at Blue Mountain has a plethora of boutiques, coffee shops, restaurants, hotels, and chalets, as well as golf courses within walking distance. Less than a 5-minute drive away, there is the Scandinave Spa, which is situated on 25 acres of natural Ontario birch, as well as the scenic caves. Craigleith Provincial Park is located along Highway 26, near Blue Mountain Resort. The Bruce Trail passes through sections of the town. The Calipore area for mountain biking and cross-country skiing, Metcalf Rock, which is popular with rock climbers, as well as the Duncan Crevice Caves Nature Reserve are in the area as well. Community's residential area across from the ski hills. Thornbury Harbour from the Royal Harbour Resort. The primary population centres are Thornbury, and the modern, resort-style communities clustered around the foot of the escarpment near the ski resorts. Additionally, the town's territory also includes the rural communities of Banks, Camperdown, Castle Glen Estates, Christie Beach, Clarksburg, Craigleith, Duncan, Gibraltar, Swiss Meadows, Heathcote, Little Germany, Laura Bay, Laurie, Ravenna, Red Wing, Slabtown, and Victoria Corners. Thornbury. Thornbury was first incorporated in 1831 and divided from Collingwood Township in 1887 as a separate administration. This existed until 2001, when it re-merged with Collingwood Township to form Town of the Blue Mountains Municipality. The town was a shipping and processing centre for local agricultural produce, especially apples, through its harbour on Georgian Bay, Lake Huron. There was also a small fishing fleet that operated from the harbour, and the post office dates from 1854. Thornbury's Grand Trunk Railway Station, C1910. Rail service reached Thornbury on September 2, 1872. When the Northern Railway of Canada's North Grey Railway was built westward through Grey County, from Collingwood to Meaford, the line reached Meaford later that year, in December. The line was originally planned to extend all the way to Owen Sound, but this vision went unrealized due to factors such as terrain, financial limitations, and competition from the Toronto, Grey, and Bruce Railway, which reached Owen Sound in 1873. The railway was later part of the Grand Trunk Railway and Canadian National Railway's CNR systems. Thereafter, it became known as the CN Meaford subdivision. Regular passenger service ceased in 1960. The line itself was abandoned in 1985. Many large late 19th century houses on tree-lined streets characterize the town suburbs. Thornbury is home to the architecturally unique L.E. Shaw Memorial Library. Built in 1995 and named after the founding partner of the architectural practice of Shaw Tilber Irwin Plus Partners, who designed it. In more recent years, Thornbury has become a winter and summer destination for individuals from across Ontario to vacation. The town also holds an annual Canada Day celebration that takes place on the Main Street. Lifts, a high-speed 6-seat chairlift at the resort, 2006. As of 2024, the resort operates 7 chairlifts, 4 surface lifts, and 1 open-air gondola lift. The chairlifts at Blue Mountain include 5 high-speed 6-seat chairlifts, 1 quad chairlift, and 1 triple chairlift. This provides the resort with an uphill capacity of 26,750 people per hour. The open-air gondola lift is not used during the winter and only operates during the skiing off-season. The open-air gondola lift at Blue Mountain Resorts. The first ski lift on the grounds of the resort was a sleigh tow lift installed in 1937. The lift was used until it was replaced by a Palmer lift in 1955. A double chairlift was opened at the resort in 1960, the first chairlift to be opened in the province. The resort built an additional double chairlift in 1965, and an additional 2 in 1969. By 1979, the resort had 3 triple chairlifts, 5 double chairlifts, 4 Palmer lifts, 3 T-bars, and 1 rope tow. The resort began to replace its double chairlifts in the 1980s, with the replacement of one with a quad chairlifts. This was followed with the replacement of another with a high-speed 6-seat chairlift in 1997. The resort expanded the number of lifts it operated in the 2000s. Replacing the chairlift, the resort opened in 1960 with a high-speed 6-seat chairlift, adding its first magic carpet lift for use on its beginner runs, and installing an open-air gondola lift in 2004 as an attraction during the skiing off-season. Resort. View of Blue Mountain Village, looking towards the mountain. In addition to skiing and snowboarding, the resort provides access to several activities on its mountain and its resort village depending on the operating season. This includes axe throwing, golf, ice skating, mountain biking, a mountain coaster, rope courses, snow tubing, snowshoeing, swimming, tennis, and zip lines. Blue Mountain Village. Blue Mountain Village is located at the base of the mountain and serves as the village is made up of hotels, motels, lodges, cabins, and more than 40 shops and restaurants in the village. The resort began to make plans for Blue Mountain Village as early as 1985, although it did not begin construction on the village until 2000, after Intrawist acquired a 50% stake into Blue Mountain Resorts. The Blue Mountain Village Association is a membership-based business association for organizations operating inside Blue Mountain Village. The association was formed through the Blue Mountain Village Association Act, 1999.